31.
Hey, WAWG listeners, welcome back from the break. I'm on with another caller in 3, 2. Hey, you're on with Leah. Tell me where you're calling from and what your name is. Hey, Leah, it's Salem. Tell me what you want to hear, Salem. Play Melanie Fiona for me. Wrong side of a love song. Oh no, somebody got you feeling like that? Yeah, I was trying to forget it all, but I guess I may as well lean into it now.
Who knows where this goes? I'm scared of this ghost. Oh, don't assume I don't just because I won't fall in. Maybe after this we can call it quits destiny. Maybe we should try. Maybe we should try. What if it's different this time? What if
I never should have let the shit between us end like it did. I frowned at my phone, trying to figure out if that message was meant for me or not. Yeah, it came to my phone, but I didn't tend to leave people with regrets about letting me get away. They usually hated that they met me. I stared at the message as if that were going to make the sender more recognizable, but yeah, I had nothing. Instead of responding, though, I put the phone down, returning to what had been previously engaging my attention, the TV. Namely, a completely ridiculous show with a completely ridiculous plot that was completely antithetical to reality. Exactly what I needed. I was way too stressed to focus on anything else. My brain was just getting fully enmeshed with the hijinks on my screen when my phone buzzed again with a new text. Seriously, Salem, can we talk or something? Unknown number. Okay, that made me sit up. If the sender was calling me by my name, it was certainly not a wrong number then, but that didn't give me any insight. Thinking back to any recent exes, I had them all saved in my phone under some variation of do not answer or bitch, don't you dare. So that told me who it wasn't, but it didn't help with who it was. Since staring at the phone wasn't going to give me any answers, I tapped to open the message and then typed out a reply. Who is this? The response was almost immediate. Damn, you really don't know? Unknown number. I guess I shouldn't have expected you to still have my number, though. Unknown number. I blew out a sigh, already annoyed with this, whatever this was. Again, who is this? I don't like people playing on my phone. It's Atlas. Atlas McNeil. Holy shit. The phone fell from my hands as I scrambled up from my seat on the couch, backing away from the device like it was about to explode. Dramatic, I know, but I hadn't heard that name in a long time. I had been quite specifically avoiding any thought of him for so long that I'd done a masterful job of tucking those unfortunate years away in my mind. But here he was, dredging himself up from the swamp of shit I'd rather forget. I blew out a breath as the phone started a constant buzz. Not a text this time, but a call. Thinking it could be one of my parents or a friend or literally anybody else, I took a chance on grabbing myself from the face down position it had landed in. But no, it was Atlas, calling now. Why? Why is this my luck? I blew out another breath and then pressed the little green button on the screen, sliding it to accept the call. Closing my eyes, I brought the phone to my ear, just listening to him breathe for a moment before I spoke. Hello? For a second, I wondered if the line had disconnected because there wasn't any response. But then a low chuckle reached my ears, so warm and familiar that it made my chest tight. Damn. So this is your grown woman voice, huh? Shit. I could ask him the same thing, as much as he sounded the same as he had just a decade ago. There was grit in his tone now, age and experience, and who knows? What can I do for you, Atlas? I asked, forcing myself to keep my tone light, much breezier than I actually felt. Shit. Nothing. I mean, not nothing. I'm saying I don't want anything. I'm just sitting here thinking, drinking, drinking about you. Shit, thinking about you. My eyes fell on my own half finished wine glass as a light bulb went off in my head. Are you drunk? Nah, I'm not. I, maybe a little, he admitted with another chuckle. But I want to talk to you. Need to talk to you. About what? We haven't spoken in, I don't even know how long. A long ass time. What could you possibly need to discuss with me? Anything, everything. Life, love, everything between. Okay, I'm hanging up now, I said. And really, I was pulling the phone away from my ear, but I had my volume up so loud I could still hear him when he pleaded for me to stay on the line. Salem, please, he was saying when I brought the phone back up. Are you there? I, I'm here. I'll come wherever you are. I'll get on a flight, meet you wherever. I need to see your face, need to talk to you. Like we used to. Talking was nowhere near all we used to do, but it was an unfortunate part of it. It would have been so much easier if it was just sex, if it was just this non-committal physical thing. Though, the talking had complicated things to the point that the untangling, or more like shredding of the thing between us, that had nearly destroyed me. I'm not in Blakewood anymore, I told him, hoping that excuse would work. Last I'd heard, he was still there, which meant he was far, far away from me. I moved after school. I'm near Blackwood now. Oh, word, that's perfect, he responded, making my heart drop. Where about? I just moved to that area. I haven't even gotten my shit unpacked yet. I'm just sitting here with a bottle in the middle of all my boxes that got delivered today. If you're over here too, I'm sure you've heard of the neighborhood. Mahogany Heights. Kind of corny name, but it's a nice little vibe. Yeah, I know. Those had been my verbatim thoughts when I moved to the Heights. I love this neighborhood, love my little apartment that stretched the boundaries of my budget, love the nice little vibe. But if Atlas McNeil was here now, well, I guess it was already time to move out. Look, I've got to go, I said, not giving him a chance to respond before I hung up. When he tried to call back, I rejected the call and then promptly blocked his number. It had taken so much, too much, to rid myself of the lasting effects of having Atlas in my life. The very last thing I was about to do was offer him an invitation back.
What if the story ends? What if we lose again? Again.
I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. Are you trying to convince me or yourself? Because, bitch, I believe you. Yana shrugged, then took another sip from the steaming Herbert mug in her hand. I was definitely being dramatic. I knew it, and so did she. But because she was my friend, she pretended it wasn't completely ridiculous that I checked over my shoulder every few minutes and we sat down for our routine morning coffee. Friend. Maybe if I'd had those back in college, that whole thing with Atlas never would have even happened. I need to see what he looks like. What'd you say his name was again? I didn't because I don't want to invoke his presence. I said, earnestly, but it made Yana laugh. Okay, now that is dramatic, but with the hold you're telling me he had on you, uh, I can't say I don't get it. But like, how did he get your number in the first place? It's the same one I've had since college. I reached out to pick off a piece of the croissant I'd let get cold on the plate in front of me, rolling the buttery, flaky pastry between my fingers before I popped it in my mouth. I blocked him before, the number I had for him at the time. I'm guessing he got a new number. Maybe when he moved or something. I don't know. Damn stalker. Yana's eyes went wide. You think he followed you here? No, I admitted immediately. He seemed genuinely excited and surprised when I mentioned I lived near Blackwood. He doesn't even know I meant the Heights. Got it. So, what are you gonna do? I raised an eyebrow. What do you mean, what am I gonna do? Well, you can't exactly live like this, she said, gesturing a hand at all of me. You're anxious as hell right now. Barely sitting still, paranoid like somebody is sending an assassin for you? That made me laugh because that might as well be the case because that situation nearly killed me. I'm serious. That dick, the smile, the face, the mouth, just as lethal as any other weapon. Wow, I am strangely jealous. My eyes went wide. Yana, what? Don't you have a whole boyfriend? She sucked her teeth. Don't judge me, bitch. That long distance shit is falling apart, and now I'm dealing with occasional mediocre sex from a perfectly nice guy. I'm over it. If the dick don't have me looking over my shoulder moving forward, I don't want it. Meanwhile, I'm like, send the non-sociopaths with passable sex in my direction. Please. I giggled, even though, man, I was serious. My dating life was downright riddled with drama. Not a single relationship or situationship or fling I could look back on and call healthy. Yes, I knew it wasn't exactly sensible to blame a decade-old mess for what was going on in my life today, but yeah, you think that until you're sneaking to the bathroom to get yourself off after being poked and prodded with sloppy douce dick for an hour, Yana complained, shaking her head. That is so specific, I laughed, and Yana joined me as Anika approached, carrying a tray loaded with a coffee pot and a variety of flavor accoutrements. Morning, ladies, she sang, greeting us with a smile. I've got today's dark roast. Either of you need a top up? Yes, please, but is it Sammy usually the one doing this? Yana asked as Anika put the tray down to add a bit of hot coffee to her mug. Anika was one of the managers at the coffee house. A little uptight during work hours, but otherwise cool as hell. Still, I didn't know her well enough to call her a full-blown friend, and neither did Yana, which is why Anika wasn't picking up on the thirsty vibes right now that had nothing to do with hot beverages. More like hot, tatted men. He actually called in today, not feeling well, Anika explained, not going into much detail since obviously it wasn't really our business. But, she said, picking up the tray after Yana had taken what she needed, I'm sure he'll be back at your service soon. She shot Yana a little wink and then moved on, making my friend's light brown skin flush red. Damn, is it that obvious? She asked. Maybe more than I thought, I laughed, picking up my mug to finish the last of my tea. Maybe it's a sign you should stop being a wimp and ask that man about more than his dairy alternative recommendations. Oh, is that your ex right there? Yana pointed, and my heart leapt into my throat before my head whipped around, eyes darting as I searched the crowded coffee shop for... Oh, you bitch, I gasped, realizing she was messing with me as she broke character to laugh. Don't dish it if you can't take it, she said, and touche, I nodded. I've got to head out, though. I've got client mock-ups due today. You're still meeting us back here for open mic tonight, right? Duh, why would I miss it? Well, the last 2 times your ass went to sleep instead, so... She groaned. My bad. Those damn kids have me worn out by the end of the week. If you were managing 7-year-olds all the time, you'd be exhausted too. Fair, but this time I'll be there. Pinky promise, she said, holding her finger out to me like we were tweens. Laughing, I returned the gesture, then swung my bag up on my shoulder. We'll see.
It's getting cold outside. It's colder in here.
I got a very specific joy from making things with my own hands. The main function of Undertones by Salem was interior design, which I loved and was good at. All my confidence in my ability to create beautiful spaces was well earned. The part that moved me, though, the thing that made me look forward to getting my client mock-ups and deliverables done for the day, was the stationery. That shit was soothing. And I needed soothing. I I needed soothing real bad after the sleepless night brought on by that text and phone call from Atlas. I needed the process, the step-by-step of it all in my quiet studio, nothing stopping me from parsing and processing my thoughts to get tuned in with myself and really identify what I was feeling. Why was I so damn bothered by the simple presence of Atlas McNeil? It wasn't as if he'd done me some sort of physical harm. That had never, ever been an issue. In fact, Atlas had been very, very, very kind to my body. Adoring, even. Reverential. Shit. Just that vague brush against those memories had heat rushing to my face. We'd been so completely enmeshed with each other that his touch had left a permanent imprint on me. I'd done so well at locking it all away, and he just undone all that with a 2-minute conversation. It was all just so troubling. I stopped what I was doing, tearing up pieces of paper to recycle into artisan small batch decorative pages to take a deep, calming breath. The Heights was not big enough that I could hope to avoid Alice forever, so I was going to have to get my shit together. It wasn't as if I could pack up the business I've been building for 3 years and break my lease and move to a whole new place, somewhere much more obscure, and to live in hiding. Right? I couldn't do that, right? Of course not. That was crazy. I frowned at the discordant noise of someone playing their music way too loud. By no means abnormal, but still annoying. I knew it would pass momentarily, so I shifted focus back to my task of tearing the paper to shreds that would eventually be broken back down to pulp to facilitate the new sheets I planned to make. The music didn't stop, though. It just got louder as the vehicle approached, and then stayed loud, long enough that I got up from what I was doing to venture outside. I was just stepping into my showroom, headed for the front windows when it finally cut off. A peek out the window didn't show any vehicles, unoccupied or occupied, whatever, in the minimal parking spaces that lined the sidewalk, so I wasn't sure what to think. Until I remembered that there was no longer an empty storefront on the other side of me. Chase Marshall, the property manager and realtor I'd just turned in mock-up designs for today, had been the one to alert me I was getting a neighbor. I was busy at the time and hadn't gotten many details, but now I wished I had. Anyway, although I was completely disinterested in any sort of confrontation, I stepped out of my door to be nosy, peeking to my right. Wax Poetic, a cute candle shop, was on the other side of the previously empty storefront, which had seemed like a great fit. I'd even introduced Tempest candles to my clients' homes. Ideally, I'd hoped another business that meshed with the aesthetic would come along. A soap shop or someone who built custom furniture, not like the small rehab and reupholstering I did, but really built it. Instead, I found myself frowning at the printed temporary sign taped inside the door. Accelerated Action PT. Ugh. The cliche red and black told me everything I needed to know about that PT, personal trainer. As I peered through the window at the space, which had been cleared of all the junk it previously held, the music started up again. It was definitely coming from here. I put a hand on the door handle, ready to pull it open and have a talk with my new neighbor, until I caught a flash of movement as someone entered the main space from the private area in the back. A deep sense of dread gripped at my chest as the figure moved out of the shadows, paying no attention to me standing there looking stupid at the door. I already knew before I saw his face, even with his back turned as he bobbed his head, dragging some kind of oversized exercise mat with him as he stepped into the light. And then he turned, giving me a perfect profile view of a face I'd been intentional about not calling to mind. Atlas McNeil. Holy shit. I didn't realize I'd actually already pulled the door a bit. It wasn't locked. So when I let it go, instead of being able to quietly back away, I set off the bell over the door, probably catching his attention. I did not stick around to find out. I got my ass back through my own door, rushing straight to the back in a panic. There's no way this shit was happening. Nope. No. I couldn't be that unlucky, right? But shit, maybe it's had nothing to do with luck. It was just fucking karma for the men I'd ruined for others, because Atlas had ruined me for others. But that wasn't actually an excuse, right? I realized much too late that I'd neglected to lock my front door behind me, which would have prevented getting followed. Followed? Really, girl? Surely he hadn't stopped what he was doing to chase some random stranger he couldn't have possibly gotten a good look at into another business, right? I mean, he was so far back into his own building that surely I was completely out of sight by the time he could have even gotten to the sidewalk. So I could have been anywhere. This was silly. Completely silly. Shaking my head, I unlocked my door and stepped out, intending to go back to shredding paper. Maybe destroying something would be a good way to work through the absolute craziness of the situation I found myself in. I very quickly found, though, that my showroom was not as empty as I'd expected it to be. Atlas was there. And the years had been, oh, so good to that man. He just seemed so much bigger. In stature, yes, but also in presence, which was nuts because even back then, back when he ruined me, he seemed so much larger than life. A magnet, attracting any and everything in his direction with good looks and intelligence and so much charm. At least that's how I saw it then. Once I was free of him, I realized he was actually more like a black hole, swallowing all the light. His attention didn't come to me immediately. He was distracted by a set of large format photo prints on the wall. I didn't move, couldn't move. He was the one who did that, his gaze shifting in my direction for a double take that made my face get hot. Damn, he reacted to me in a low whisper, his attention moving from my face to roll over my body in a leisurely once-over before he met my gaze. I hated myself for being glad I put real attention into my appearance this morning, choosing heeled boots and slim-fitting jeans that accentuated my curves instead of my usual athleisure. I didn't dress unless I was meeting a client, but today I had, because I'd woken up feeling shitty because of him. And now he was reaping the benefits. You are so much more beautiful than I remember, he spoke, moving to close the distance between us. I looked away, shaking my head like it was some sort of defense against his flattery. What are you doing here? I raised a hand to stop his approach, and he respected that. He was already too close, though. I could smell him and feel him, warm and familiar and clean and earthy. This heady, intoxicating, just virility that I'd never had the misfortune of encountering before him. And certainly not the good luck of finding again. He pushed his hands into the pockets of his sweats, looking a little defeated by my reaction to him. And God help me, even that was sexy. His dark eyes were full of regret, all the remorse in the world knit into his brow as his wide shoulders dropped. And that loud-ass music was still going. I thought I saw you at my door. Well, I hoped it was you. You were gone pretty fast. By the time I got to the door, I didn't see where you'd gone, but then I saw this storefront and I just knew. I read the name, Undertones, and I knew that was you. I made myself roll my eyes. I had to counteract my pitiful internal swooning. As much as I reviled it, I believed him because Atlas knew me intricately, intimately. Your music is too loud. A smirk spread over his full, velvety lips. My bad. I had planned to get a little vibe going so I could start getting my stuff set up, but I could put on headphones instead so I don't wreck your vibe. Or Tempest, I said. She's on the other side of your gym. A full eyebrow shot up. Gym? I shrugged. Fine. Personal training studio, whatever you call it. Are you going to be loud all the time? Physical therapy, not personal training, he corrected. And I mean, I don't plan to be, but sometimes I might have clients that need to be hyped through difficult movements, need their spirits lifted, you know. So my ambient noise might be a little much volume-wise sometimes, but I can promise to keep it respectful for you and Tempest, I reminded him. And then I couldn't help myself, even though I knew the less information I had, the better. But physical therapy? Really? I definitely would have thought vanity was the preferable pursuit for you. The smirk he'd been wearing widened into a smile. I certainly understand why you might think so, and you're not wrong. I was in personal training for a while. Remember, it was kinesiology and dietetics for me over at Blakewood. I remember. It got old. I was out in LA and that culture out there, I didn't want to deal with people's vanity anymore. I wanted to tap into improving people's livelihoods, their health. Not that personal training is just vanity, but out there, it was. He chuckled. So I went back to BSU, got what I needed to become a physical therapist, and now here I am. Yes, here you are. Atlas blew out a sigh before he stepped forward, closing a bit more of the distance between us. Listen, I know that shit between us wasn't ideal. It wasn't ideal. Atlas, it was completely fucked up. You just stopped. Stopped talking to me. Stopped looking at me. You looked right through me like I wasn't even there. Like I was nothing to you. But you know that's not the case. I don't know shit, I snapped, taking a step back as he stepped forward. Other than knowing that, I want you to leave. Salem. Go. Keeping my resolve was difficult. From the very first time he talked his way between my legs, I'd never, ever been able to deny him. It wasn't even a possibility my brain would allow. I'd been 19 years old then, though, basically still a child. I wasn't capable then of overruling my body in favor of good choices, but maybe I was now. Okay, he nodded, with sorrowful eyes and a deep sigh that made my chest hurt. But I couldn't back down. I followed him at a good distance to the door, which I planned to lock after him. Inwardly, I cursed myself for my reaction to watching him swagger away from me with all the confidence of a man who was an absolute menace. In bed and out. At the door, he turned, offering me a melancholy smile. I'm glad to see you're doing well, Salem. So am I answered. And I'd like to keep it that way, if you don't mind. He opened his mouth to say something, but then must have thought a different course was better. He gave a little sigh and then stepped out. I guess I'll see you around, neighbor. He told me through the door. I couldn't lock that shit fast enough. Atlas, I called as he turned to walk away. He turned with clear hope brimming in his eyes, but I shook my head. If you're planning on making this a thing, us being friends or lovers or whatever. Don't do that to me. Please. Please reconsider.
What if we lose? What if we lose again? What if the story ends? What if we lose again?